The Reece and Rob Podcast.
All right.
Episode 51.
Episode 51.
I'm Ra.
I'm Reece.
This is the Reece and Rob Podcast.
Reece and Rob Podcast.
Hey.
Tomorrow will come and oh, I can't wait.
It's inauguration day.
Inauguration day.
Yo,
The first thing I'll do is laugh at you fools. They can recount votes with change. Inauguration day.
It's inauguration day.
It's inauguration day. Made for Joe and Kay.
Joe and Kay.
Yo, the video.
Finally.
The video is foolish.
Yeah, shout out to his name is Robert Campbell. He's a comedian on Instagram. That's where I got the video from.
I feel like maybe we should include a link in the description
Of
for people
where
to
they
be
can
able-
find that. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout him out for sure because that was genius.
Yeah, that was fire. Yeah, it's no
But-
front on that.
Yes. So when you're watching this video, it is January 20th, 2021, and it's been a long time coming.
It's been
A
well, dude.
Can we just
Okay.
have a moment of silence? Because, my goodness, what a time to be alive.
What a shit show of the last 4 years. I mean, like, could it have happened? Like, for me, I could say that I don't want to say that I saw exactly that coming.
Yeah.
But I could say that I saw chaos coming. I don't think that, in my mind, I knew that some chaos was gonna unfold during this presidency.
Yo. I mean, I don't know. All I can say is, I don't have my song. Damn it. I'm working on my sounds, guys.
We're
But
getting there.
okay. All I can say is,
Just say it. I hope.
oh no, that's not it. Wrong one. Damn it.
Bruh.
Thank you.
Just say it. I hope.
Yeah, I'm working on that. but
Man.
Bruh.
Yeah. What a time. I mean, and you know what? Like, the thing is that, like, maybe where we should be feeling, like, joyous and, like, slightly celebratory, I'm a little bit
Nervous?
on edge about all of this.
Well, I mean, I'm just hoping that when this episode airs, because we're recording it the day before, so it's the 19th when we're recording, it airs on the 20th. I'm just hoping that by the time our supporters and listeners listen, that everything went scotch-free.
See-
I'm hoping for that.
Ooh.
Because everybody's kind of on edge. Everyone in DC is on edge, and it's just there's a lot of the energy in the United States of America right now.
It's not all that great. It could be better.
And it's just so ironic that this is happening on the 1-year anniversary of when we found out about the first coronavirus patient. I think it was like the
Was this-
21st
Oh,
or
wow.
the 21st was when we found out about
When the
the
rumors started
like
circulating.
like in Seattle, I think. And it's now like over 400,000 people in the United States have died.
And it's still, like, debated whether it's real or not.
400,000. And I don't want to talk about this because I know we're sick,
all- no,
but
it's all
like
good.
that's 400,000 heartbeats. You know what I mean? Like people that had lives and family and jobs and careers and goals and passions. And like,
Yeah.
we're just like,
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just with that, it's like it's part of that, and then like I see, so many people in so many different, from so many different walks of life, just out. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't even a thing. A lot of people still think it's a phony thing. They call it the pandemic. They don't think it's real. And I'm not here to debate that. I think that the way that my nervousness is set up, I'm just gonna wear a mask to protect my people.
yeah, it's a wild time to be alive right now. But nonetheless, I feel like today we wanted to start doing the feel good news, right? We got to work on a drop for that.
Yeah.
But I think that today's feel good news is that we no longer have Trump in office.
Donald Trump ain't in office no more. Ain't that something?
And I think that deserves a celebration. Boom, boom, boom.
Wait a minute.
Oh, round of applause. I definitely got some. Yeah. Yeah. So thank God.
You got to get him out. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad to be seeing him.
And
get out
now
of
we
there.
have a long road. The same way like when Obama was in office in 2008. We were in a financial crisis. And I mean, gosh.
I'm gonna say
why
this.
do we as a country have to wait until we hit rock bottom to be like, okay.
I'm gonna say this, and this is not any shade. Yes, it is.
All the shade.
All the shade. Has anybody noticed how when Democratic presidents come into office, they are handed
the worst.
the worst situations left from a Republican?
The worst.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Just kind of seeing. I'm not saying all Republicans suck because that's not true. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
just
man.
saying.
It's
Just putting it out there.
Yeah. Either way, episode 51, and we're here. Shout out to you guys for checking us out on YouTube. YouTube is what I said. YouTube. YouTube, and subscribing, because that means a lot to us. We definitely, try to put some love into our visuals. We be beefing about it. We
have creative
we
differences.
have creative differences, and so behind the scenes, it's like a cat fight. Not really, not really. but we do be like, I like it this way.
Rob be looking at me crazy, and I just
don't be looking
in my mind, I'm just like, it's just creative differences. It's not,
I look at you crazy.
You know what? I think that you like what you like, and
Doesn't
sometimes
everybody?
Right, but sometimes in that, it's difficult to suggest something other than what you like because you might not always be so receptive.
That's not true. I'm gonna push
That
back
is
on
100% true.
I'm pushing back on that.
You
That
can
is
push
not
back
true.
if you would like.
That's not true.
No?
So you're saying, are you basically saying that I don't compromise?
I'm not saying that you don't. It takes some push. It takes some push to get to the compromise space. I think that you see things.
You push back on things too, though. So
Yeah, I
that's
do.
not fair for you to say in like almost an accusatory tone.
Nah, not accusatory. I'm saying you like what you like.
I do. You like what you like.
Yeah.
And that's that on that. And that's that on that. But yeah, so you guys have just seen a snapshot of
the creative differences
of our
that we have.
creative
Yeah.
differences, where I feel one way, you feel another. But I feel like that's every relationship. I don't think it's healthy to be in a relationship where you just allow your partner to just have the say and do and just be like, all right.
Yeah,
that's whack.
I'd
be bored.
But you know what? I think the difference when it comes to like partners who take on creative things is like it can be a little more difficult than like your traditional like arguments. I think sometimes because like when you have to think about like when you work with your colleagues at work, or like when I work with my colleagues at work, or if I work with somebody I'm collaborating on with music. When we disagree, it feels less. It feels sometimes, I guess, with your partner, it could feel like your partner's like it could feel personal.
Yeah.
With you and your partner, and I think that when it's just collaborative energy, it's never personal. It's just like, you know what I mean.
It's hard to not take things personal in a relationship.
Yeah, that's the difficulty.
The most vulnerable and most personal with that person.
Right. Like why is it so easy for like my homie to be like, I don't like those kicks, right? It's easier for me to hear my homie say that
than for me to say it.
Well, yeah, I think the same could be said about just like both of us. I think that when
Maybe
somebody else offers the like, hey, maybe you should reconsider that. Like,
I think
it feels different.
It might be proximity to vulnerability, where you are exposing your true feelings to a person and you put them so high on a pedestal that everything that they say, you take to heart, literally, because it's almost, it's so close. It's almost as if you are saying to yourself, whether or not something is good or bad.
Do you ever feel yourself feeling like you're more receptive to other criticism? Like,
of course.
Yeah. I was about to say, I hate to admit that.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to offend you with that. Like, but I like sometimes I'm more receptive to the criticism of like my homies.
You don't like my criticism at all.
No, not really.
I cannot. Y'all, I can't tell him about his music. I can't say nothing about his beats.
But I could tell you that there's like sometimes a reason why. Because like sometimes to me, and
you think I'm harder on you than other people?
Yes.
That's not true.
Sometimes, but sometimes it just okay. This could be my issue. Okay. So I want to make this clear that I am not blaming you. I'm just going to point out something that I notice and what I see, and that maybe I need to work on. I think sometimes the criticism doesn't always feel like constructive criticism. It just feels like a highlight on what is wrong with it. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes that's difficult for me. So like with me, if I get or receive criticism, I want to be like, hey, you know, I think that part is dope.
You think it's okay. It looks, you want
No.
soft?
Nah, not soft. But this is how I deal with and talk to the people that I collaborate with. You never use harsh words with another person's creativity. It's too much. We already have our own insecurities. You as well. We all do. Right?
So you say I use harsh words?
I think that sometimes you could take a harsh take at it, a stab at it, right? So like, and I'm not going to use examples, but I'm going to say like what I would do, right? Like, so if I see you working on something and I don't love it, I could be like, yo, that's all right, but I think maybe if the light came around here, it might be a little bit doper. Versus, nah, that light ain't right. That ain't it.
But you know what's funny with you saying that is that even with you thinking that you're saying it in a nicer tone or saying it in a softer way,
maybe I'm not.
No, you're not. And I think that's why we kind of butt heads sometimes, because you think you're saying something one way, but I can hear how you really feel. Okay. And I feel like that's almost passive aggressive in a way where it's like, just be blunt. Like I grew up in a blunt household. You know, I grew up in a space where my father spoke his mind without no sugarcoat. My mother, you've met her, does not sugarcoat. Right. You know, they say what's on their mind, and so I'm the same way. So if I feel a way about anything, I can be blunt sometimes, you know, and I know that not everyone is capable of taking that. I think not everybody is, and that's a real thing. I don't think it's a weakness that everybody can't take that on. I think what I believe is, and this is just, you know, what I've come to believe over time. I think that sometimes words can really hold so much weight that a person can't get past them. And I know sometimes it's like, oh, well, that's your problem, right? But at the end of the day, the conversation should be like, do I want to help this person improve, or do I just want to tell them how I feel about their shit, which is two different things, right? Yeah. So if you really want to help somebody improve, I think that we and me, myself included, because I'm listening to you saying that maybe I don't deliver things the right way. Like if I want you to improve, or if you want me to improve, we got to say it to make each other improve and not just to point out or pick apart what's wrong. You know, I think it really boils down to the type of person that you are, because I have friends in my life outside of you who, because I know their personality and who they are, when I have conversations with them and they tell me about myself, I'm not offended, even though they're aggressively harsh. Like I have, you know, a best friend of mine from college who I know every conversation I have with her, she's going to tell me stuff that sometimes I'm just like, damn, like, okay. But because I know her personality and how she is, I don't take offense to it. I have a homeboy who's the same way, who's sarcastic as hell and just borderline rude. You know what I mean?
I'm sensitive artist type. I'm ready to fight people over words.
No, I mean,
you know
I
what
am
I mean?
too.
Like I am so sensitive.
I am too.
Mine.
If that comes to me from someone that I don't know. What I'm saying is that because I know their personality and I know who they are as a person, and I know that their intentions is never to bring me down or make me feel low or make me feel less than myself. You know, their intentions is to be honest and raw, and, you know, the delivery might be like, dang, but I know that they're only telling me so that I can take that and become better. But I take the message, and I'm not gonna dwell on, well, why you have to be so rude about it? Like I don't dwell on that.
No, I see it. It's really difficult for me to not see it as a respect thing. Like, because, you know, it's a weird thing, and the weird thing is that like I completely understand where you're coming from, and there's a part of me that agrees, right?
Yeah.
But then there's also this part of me that's like, yo, we can put our best face forward to strangers and be mindful of how we deliver things. Be mindful of our tongue. Like I want the same thing. I don't want to be, just because we're good, you think you can say whatever, however. Like, because at the end of the day, even though people might take it well and things might move on from there and be fine, like it does cut sometimes. And sometimes it can paralyze people from doing what it is, or from just being their natural self. Like sometimes those words can completely, get under your skin to the point where it paralyzes some of who you are. In my opinion.
But yeah, you're very sensitive in that area, as you've shared. So I think that's a case by case, a scenario. But yeah, I know that we had mentioned on our IG that we wanted to ask you guys what you wanted us to talk about, because if it were up to us, we'd be on random tangents all day. And there's so many things to talk about. I ran across a couple of things this week that I wanted to ask you, as well as like our listeners and supporters, based off of, relationship, marriage, dating, all of that. But I know that you had mentioned something that somebody had asked in our DMs.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was?
No.
Gotta be on point, babe.
Yeah.
You gotta be on point.
Hold on 1 second. Oh wow, there's a whole lot more here.
The unspoken expectations of a relationship was what you had texted me. Was that it?
No, I texted you something else that was completely not related to the questions that people asked, but that is here though.
Yeah.
I see that.
Look, you said it. Unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. Well, unrealistic expectations versus I guess unspoken expectations and unrealistic.
No, unexpected and unrealistic.
Yeah, I guess they can kind of be the same thing.
Unspoken expectations and unrealistic.
Expectations.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think that we all have some expectations.
Men versus women, like unrealistic. Okay, so unspoken expectations can sometimes be done. Versus unrealistic, it's like, you can't really do that.
Yeah,
I can't do this for my partner. I'm not going to be able to make you happy in this area. It's just not going to happen. That's unrealistic. Unspoken expectations, it's like, how am I supposed to know this is what you want without you telling me?
Yeah.
Those are the difference. That's the difference between the two. I had to, my brain.
Yeah. I think the expectations that men have on women and the expectations that women have on men are completely different, because our needs aren't the same, right?
Correct.
I think they're completely different. So I don't, I was watching a video of like another podcast, and they were talking about that issue. They were talking about like the expectations that men have versus the expectations that women have. And I guess in my mind, like, what do you think? Not necessarily directed towards you, but you got homegirls. This is a conversation you probably had a million times. Like, what do women really expect from a potential partner that they're looking for?
Oh.
Or what is it like? Let me get more specific. Like, what is it exactly that? Like, what's on the checklist? Like, what's on the checklist for women?
That
first
depends.
of all,
it's women to women, so I'll start with that.
Right. But general consensus, a couple of boxes that you feel like are maybe not universal, but very like a lot of women would like. Intuition,
which men don't really have initially, because having intuition solves 90% of problems in relationship that women have with men. When I say intuition, I mean being in tune with your woman, being in tune with her needs and her wants, and we do demand a lot. I am going to say it on behalf of my species. We do have high demands and expectations, but they're simple once you get them.
I just face planted in a mic. That was really embarrassing.
Wait, what?
Like I did it and then looked over. It was crazy. And I had to explain that first. I know somebody saw it while I'm being quiet, and I'm like, man, that was crazy. Sorry.
I was like, what's going on over there? So yeah, intuition, like just being in tune to your partner.
Let me know when I can chime in.
And okay, well, you asked me the question, so I was answering.
Okay.
It. So that's one thing.
Okay.
I think that can, domino effects into other things where you're compassionate, you're listening, you're trying, you have effort. Effort, I think, is so important. I don't think every woman wants their man to be perfect. well, I won't speak on behalf of all women, but most women we understand that you're a work in progress, because we all are. We're humans.
Yeah.
But if you are actively trying to better yourself as a man, as a human, whether it's through education, whether it's through therapy, whether it's through, whatever different methods, just to become better day by day, and we see that effort, that does mean a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the short answer.
That's the short answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think men's expectations, or what really satisfies our like core needs, are really like super basic things.
I know.
Like super basic things. And I think sometimes men get flustered by like the difference in expectations between like what we need and what y'all need. And the crazy thing is,
explain that.
so what I mean by that is, for us, we don't require much of you. Like, you don't have to, and I want to be clear about that. At least I don't think it's much. I don't think what we require of our women is much. I think there are some basic things.
That can fall under unspoken.
So the basic things that I think we need sex, we need food, and we need our home to feel like it is our place of peace. And like we are good in our home.
Those three things seem so simple, but they are so layered and complicated.
I don't think they are, though. Not from our perspective. I don't really think they are. So like,
think outside the box for a second. Just think outside the box for a second, especially when it comes from the pressures of being a woman, right? And we haven't even inserted kids yet.
Yeah.
We haven't even inserted kids, your children. It will in a perfect scenario. But if there's kids in the picture, right, you're saying that you and those three things are, I get it, that's the key to what a man's heart, but it's not an easy job, right? And so when in terms of making a house a home, which is a full-time job, by the way, there's women who only do that because
right.
It's a lot to manage a home. I mean, it's a lot, then to make sure that you're fed and to make sure that you are physically satisfied.
I think that good partners are looking out for each other on the home front. I think so, right?
Yeah.
At least I would hope so. I think that good partners are both cleaning and cooking. It's not this thing where it's like.
But to answer your
one-sided.
question, to go right back to what you said in terms of a man's expectation for his woman, I feel like that statement should not be said without a caveat of, and I understand that this might be a challenge for you. Like, I feel like what you feel, I know you're not that way, but I know most men think that it should be that simple. No ifs, ands, or buts, no footnotes.
No, so I say it in comparison to what I think women want from us. And this is not...
We're more emotional driven.
But I also think that there's some other expectations as well, like financial expectations. There are,
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like with some of the expectations that women have, I think sometimes it can be like slightly more demanding than what we're demanding of you. Right?
Are you wanting it to be equal? Is that what you're saying?
No, not it doesn't equal. I like the word equal. It doesn't have to mean the same, but I do like the word equal. It does not have to mean the same whatsoever. So I'm not saying that.
If you were demanding your woman to cook, clean, give you sex, take care of your children, and insert etc. random things, right? Then for them to say, okay, we'll financially provide for all of this so that I can make it happen, is that not too much to ask?
See, but that's not exactly what I'm asking for myself. Right.
Well, no, we're not talking. We're talking in general terms. This is not Reece and Rod's personal situation. This is generally speaking.
Generally speaking, like
you're wanting your woman to do these things, and so if a woman is saying, "I need you to be able to provide for me to be able to do that," how is that an unrealistic expectation? Like, how is that just not standard?
I mean, like, define provide for, because, like, in my mind, this is how I see it. If you have children, you should be able to take care of your children. That's how I feel.
Okay.
As a man, right? You have children, you need to provide for your children. Does that mean that you are the sole breadwinner? Does that mean, I guess it means, and each relationship needs to define what this means, because like I don't think
Each relationship is different.
I don't think it's universal
No.
necessarily. But I do think that like the expectations of men as a whole and the expectations of women as a whole tend to look very similar. I think they tend to come around to the same things. And the reason why I think so is because it's how we're raised. It's what our mothers, our aunties, our sisters, everybody talks about. It's what everybody in your inner circle talks about. It becomes this not universal per se, because I think that there's nuance and difference in every relationship, but it becomes this universal, like, if he ain't doing this for you, girl, he ain't shit. Or if she ain't doing this, bro, she ain't the one, right? And I think it becomes a little more universal than not. And I think a lot of times it's like almost, I don't dare I say, like we've been programmed as men and women. I think we've been programmed as men and women to have these responses.
With that. I'll definitely agree. It's all about our environment. You know, if I grew up in a 2-parent household where my father provided for my family, my mother was a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I saw. That's what I grew up to. Of course, I got my education and I learned that my nuclear family is not the only family rule. That's not how all families operate. Not all families operate with the father in their household or with the mother in their household. You know, and it just depends on your upbringing. It depends on what you want to believe in, what you want to do for your family. Because there's people who grew up one way and they're like, I'm never going to be like my family. I'm never going to be like the way my mother treated my father or my father treated my mother. I'm going to do the complete opposite. And they reprogram their rules for their nuclear family, you know, and that's their prerogative. You know, I just think that the conversations need to happen and not the expectations where it's just like, all right, well, because you have a penis, therefore you need to do X, Y, and Z. And because you have a vagina, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Like, I mean, that's blurred lines nowadays, like literally and figuratively, it's blurred lines. So it's like if you have two people that come together that are like, this is what we decided to do. Let's have that conversation to make sure that the expectations are laid out.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I think the whole unrealistic expectation is something that has to be talked about, but the unspoken. Okay, let me rephrase because I'm confusing myself. The unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic is just that. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to. If you're in a situation where I have twins for you and, you know, we have a house and you're like, I need you to go to work to make money. And I'm just like, that's just unrealistic. I'm not going to be able to go to work while raising your children, while giving you sex, while cooking your meals, while cleaning this house. Like, I need to stay at home. That's more realistic for me. I think those expectations, it just depends on the scenario.
Well, this is a live conversation. This is the first time we've had that conversation.
About what?
About the expectations of, like, if you had twins, you got to you stay home. You stay home now.
That was a scenario that popped into my head.
Okay.
So you're saying that I should go to work?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is the first time we've had this conversation.
Well, let's talk about it.
If that was
a scenario.
If that was a scenario.
I mean, what would you expect?
What would I expect? So for me, you know, depending on where we're at, I expect both of us to hold it down in the ways that we can. Like whatever makes sense. And that can be vague. Get
specific.
Let me be specific. So if I'm making that type of bread, specific. If I'm making that type of bread, yes, stay at home, right? If I'm not on that level to be supporting us as a family the way that we need to and still be able to grow, then that might have to be some sacrifices from both of us. But that's the way that I see life.
So you're not going to step up to make more money?
I'm going to do what I can to make more money, but I definitely don't see it as it should just be an expectation. I got twins now. I'm staying home. Like, I think it's a thing that you grow into as a family and that you plan for. I don't think it should just be like, oh, nigga, you make it happen now. Like, we have to, like, my whole take on that is now we need to, not even now, we need to plan before we get there.
Of course.
We need to plan for that type of lifestyle, because if we're not planning for that type of lifestyle, no, I don't think it should just be an expectation. I think that a man needs to provide for his family for sure. You cannot leave your kids hungry. You cannot leave your wife destitute. You can't leave your family messed up. But
Okay.
I don't think it should be like, oh, I pop these twins out, nigga, I'm staying home. You
Okay,
got it.
that's-
It's all on you. You go make it happen. I don't believe that. I
Nah.
don't believe in that. If we can't strategize together as a family,
Oh,
yeah, that's
Ooh.
exactly how I feel.
word.
Yeah.
Let them know how you really feel.
Yes.
Okay. That's not what I was saying at all. But
Okay.
I see that got under your skin a little bit.
Nah, not really. It's just passionate.
It did.
No, it's just
It
passionate.
did. I definitely don't think that saying I'm having twins, you go to work now is what I mean. I know that there are women who believe that. They are.
Yeah, I know.
But you got to have that conversation. If I turn up pregnant and the doctor says you're having twins, you have 9 months or however long to make that decision. I think that carrying children in of itself is like such a huge thing. And for a man to look at the person that's carrying their child and be like, well, we got to talk about what you can do and what I can do is almost like,
Nah, I think, but okay.
What?
So this
like
is
I've
so this is
sacrificed
just
my body and my life,
I got you.
Like I've definitely like could have died,
no, that's fair. But I think,
but yet you want to talk about like planning out.
Absolutely.
If I got to
think-
go back to work.
I think the whole idea or conversation that it should just be like, nigga, now it's all on you to go figure this shit out. You have to go make all of this work.
No,
Like,
that's not fair.
Okay, that's what I mean. I
Nah.
think that idea. I think that there's some people who get into that like mind
Nah.
frame, right? I think that is like that idea of like, okay, now you need to go figure out how to make $100,000 a year, regardless of your skill level, regardless of where you're at in life, regardless of you got to go figure that out.
I mean,
And don't come back here until you do, because you ain't a man if you don't. You ain't taking care of your responsibility if you don't. And that sounds a little bit unrealistic
that is
to
very
me.
loaded. But I cannot speak on behalf of every partnership, relationship, woman and man situationship, whatever. But that is a conversation. Like whenever you are, this is a lot. Whenever you're thinking about doing something that involves another person, you got to talk about it. You have
Agreed.
to. You have to.
Yeah, agreed.
You cannot. And even when it comes to major decisions, you've got to collaborate with the person that you're doing it with.
And that's what I meant.
We've learned that when it comes to, looking at like properties, and we're, trying to take that next step to level up financially, where we've had to make serious decisions, like come to Jesus decisions on like what our next move is, where I think one way, you think another way. And we're like, okay, how do we meet in the middle? But in terms of just like you like being a breadwinner or she being a breadwinner, like that is something that like I move differently than you do when it comes to like,
Won't disagree. We definitely.
you know what I mean? When it comes to like those type of decisions. So like it just depends on the person at the end of the day, because one person, if they see a scenario like, there's men out there, if they see a scenario where they have their wife is, pregnant with twins or triplets, automatically like, all right, this is what I need to do. There's some men who are just like, nah, I gotta talk about this. There's some men who don't do anything at all, and they abandon they abandon that situation. Like
See, I guess it's more so about like so where I think where things get off with people with expectations is like not communicating before you get to that space. So for me personally, and I think
that has to be combined also with the type of person that you are too.
Yeah, that this is true. But I think that like you have to take people at their word and who they say they are, right? And what they say that they're looking for. And I think that like if who you are doesn't match up with a person, that's a conversation that, should be happening, right? Because I know for me, and I can't speak for all men, I would like a partnership with my woman, with my wife, with
you would
with
like
who I'm with.
You don't have that?
Well, I do have that, but so that's what I'm saying. So like, I think, for me, I don't feel the same pressure that other men feel. Other men might feel this pressure to go kill themselves, to go make certain things happen. And for me, it's more like, nah, you know what? My wife, my partner, my teammate, this is what I think we could do. this is how I think this could catapult me to this position, could catapult you to this position, or this is what I think the mix of this could be to have some passive income so you can chill more, so I can go work more, so we can do this, X, Y, Z. I think that that's more my style.
Yeah.
So the unspoken, I'm not going to allow anybody to make me feel like less of a man because I didn't jump how they thought I should. I feel like
because that is called projection.
Yeah, because I feel like a perfect man. I mean, not a perfect man. Let me not say that. I feel perfectly like a man without anybody's approval or acceptance or what they say.
Yeah.
Should be the way that I should go.
Okay. Oh, did that light just go down?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
no.
want to stop for a second?
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah. So that was an intense debate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have a what if scenario that I saw on the internets that I would like to share. I want to know your opinion on this. It's a woman. She's saying, this is her talking. I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years. We've been talking marriage for about the last 5 months. I told my boyfriend, no matter what, do not propose to me on Christmas, New Year's, or Valentine's Day. It's so expected and not epic at all. I also told him that if he did, I would say no, and I didn't care who was around. Well, what did he do on Christmas Day in front of all of his family? He proposed, and I said no. The ring was beautiful, but I wasn't kidding when I told him that I would say no if he proposed to me on a holiday. Now he's mad at me, and his family thinks I'm a spoiled bee. I guess they all hate me now, and he said he's not too sure if he'll ask again for fear of embarrassment. Who's right? Who's wrong?
Okay, this is loaded. So I'm not going to say she's wrong. I'm not going to blame her for how she feels. But I do think that when you want something, like I think, this is just my take on it. So I have to give her, whatever space it is that she needs to be who she is. The way that I feel about life is that things do not always go perfectly or as expected or how you perfectly want them. But like, what do you want in the long term? Like, what do you really want? I think if she really wanted to marry that man, I don't think that it would have mattered so much. But I can't knock her for having, a boundary around what she wants. That's just how I feel.
But in my mind, I'm like, if he cannot respect that simple wish, like he didn't even...
So I wouldn't have done it if I was him. So we'll start by saying that.
Of course not. Because any man reading this would be like, I wouldn't have done it. Like any man is going to say, I wouldn't have done it. But let's talk about how sometimes men do things for women and they don't really consider where they're coming from. Like she had one rule. She was like, don't propose to me on these days. Just don't. And like, this is a big thing. Propose. You know how it goes. What was my request? I don't want to do it. I don't want to be in front of people. Like I was, I don't want it to be in front of people. Like that was just my request. If that's my request and then your partner doesn't listen to you, that is a problem that's going to come up again in your marriage.
Yeah,
for sure. And it might not be a big deal now. I mean, that's big enough, but
my question is, does she really want to marry that man? Is this what she really wants, or does she want somebody to provide her fantasy? Right? I have to ask that question.
That is a good question that we don't have the answer to.
Yeah, do you just because in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong here, right? I think when you really want to be with somebody, then you are, right?
I feel like her saying no is answering the question that she shouldn't be with him. Yeah, I don't think that they should be together just based off of the fact that he didn't listen to her and she didn't say yes regardless.
Yeah, I don't, yeah.
If they're just because a lot of people, especially when it comes to proposing, if you're in a relationship and you're thinking about taking that next step, a lot of people get caught up in the theatrics of it. Like you see, I mean, that's everything nowadays in our millennial dating era where everything is done for clout. It's done for likes. It's done for, how viral it could go. People spend so much of their effort on on the optics, like how does this look, instead of genuinely like how does this make me feel.
That's I guess that's how I feel, right? Like if she really like deep inside of her like loves this man unconditionally, no matter how wrong or right, and you really want to be with this person, I think that you just do. Right?
Some people date for the optics. Some people get married for the optics. So maybe she is one of those women who was just like, the optics ain't right.
Yeah. Right.
But I saw that and I was like, oh, Jesus, I don't know. That's because
I mean, but there's two sides to this. There's two sides.
There is. They're both in the wrong. I think.
Yeah.
I think they're both in the wrong, and I feel like they need to really have a conversation and go to therapy before.
I'm not sure that they need to continue.
I don't
think that they need to continue.
Yeah, I don't
think so.
He not listening to her. I don't know. It's just
He not listening. First of all, and she is a bit entitled. She has a bit of an entitlement. I'm not mad at it.
And it's in front of his family. Like, what happened to her family? Why is her family not there? But these are questions that I guess we don't know the whole scenario. But
they both ain't right.
Yeah, us women, we want what we want. That I think that's like an unrealistic expectation. That fits right into today's topic, I feel. But we want what we want, and it is up to us women, and I'm speaking to all my women, to lay out exactly what you want and don't hesitate around it. Yeah. And if your partner doesn't meet up to that, then that's a conversation to be had. But lay it out. Don't sit there and I know you and he always tells me, you always tell me, I can't read your mind, because I'll sit here and be like,
why doesn't he know?
I'll be sign language into this nigga like, why you not understanding what I'm saying? He's like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I can't.
I do words.
You gotta
I
spell
do
it
talking.
out. And then I get frustrated because I'm like, you're not intuitive. You're not. I'm using my feminine energy and my feminine power. And we have to remember that they don't have those capacities.
And we might, but I'm saying, like, I think men have a different type of intuition that's not exactly the same as women's intuition, right? Our intuition is completely different, but it's not really good for solving problems that we don't know about.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, well, let's move on. That was interesting. I wanted to bring that up, but I'm definitely gonna pass the aux. What are you listening to?
The last thing that I was listening to, so it's two things that I've really been on lately. Mm-hmm. So I've been down a really deep MF Doom rabbit hole. So the one song that I really, really, really dig from MF Doom is called Rap Snitch Knishes.
Okay.
I just think
Yo, MF Doom, Mr. Fantastic.
Yo, the hook.
What up, nigga?
Ain't nothing, what's the word?
It's cracking, boy.
And I like the beat too.
Man. Shit is bugged out, man. What the fuck, man? Niggas running
Yeah, that's
their
dope.
mouth.
Yeah.
Everything.
Rap snitches telling all their business, sitting the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here.
Fuck around, get the whole label sent up for years.
That's a bop. I'm gonna play that at the Nod. Shout out to the Nod happening this Thursday in Atlanta. Wear your mask. Please don't come out if you have COVID. Great.
The fact that you have to say that is alarming. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Rest in peace, MF Doom.
What about you? What are you? I mean, there's some other things that I'm on too. But what have you been on?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Well, for lack of time, I have been on quite a bit. But you put me onto this chick. I've been onto some UK music and lately, and so you put me onto Little Sims. And you sent me a song called Our Conversations, I believe is what it's called. But she has this one song called Selfish that I am just like, oh, this is a bop. I'm definitely digging this song.
Oh, it's got Cleo Soul in it.
Yeah.
I can't sleep at night. I don't wanna fight. My best friend is
Trying to go hard, yo.
I'm so selfish. Guess I'm in denial. Baby, I'm doing you right. Heard it all my life. I'm so selfish.
So, I'm always bigging up Black Girl Magic all day, every day. And I've been really on a hunt for dope MCs that that aren't mainstream. Not, you know, there's a lot of dope female MCs out there, but I've been on a hunt for the people, for the ones that we're not talking enough about, at least here in the United States. And so I've been digging into some of these artists from other countries, and I'm so mad I'm just now discovering who she is. Like she's
dope,
fire.
yo.
She's definitely
Yeah,
fire. So
she's
shout out to
dope.
Little Sims, out from the UK. Song is called Selfish. But that's my Pass the Aux. Other than that, you know, same old shit, different day. Like I said, the Nod is this Thursday, straight boom bap. I'll be playing a lot of hey yo, boo 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 boo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be playing a lot of that grimy gangsta boom bap. I've married into it, so it's in our household.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've become that DJ. You know, I miss Controllerize. Man, that was a space where I would always play that shit. But play some MF Doom, some Madlib. You know, Shay Noir. Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
she's fire.
Yeah.
You know the vibes.
I wish I could go.
I know you have to work.
I
That
wish I could go.
sucks.
Yeah.
But yes. But yeah, man. So episode 51, this was good.
This was great.
It got a little heated,
Yeah, you know.
but you know, that's good.
I think people need to hear real and raw conversations. I don't
Real
think it's bad.
and raw. Reese.
Aha, I see what you did there. Yeah.
I need a until next week. Please make
Yes.
sure you subscribe. We want to get to 100 subscribers. That's our goal. Yeah. Now I just want to go watch Mandalorian.
Yeah, and eat some food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye guys.
Deuces.